So now we will go to MSc part. Like, right, I am in MSc. So in MSc we have only 2 year of time, and within 2 year many more things to do. Like we have to learn about the different coding. We have to prepare for private job or government job or PhD. So many more thing in 2 year of time. So in a compact time, how to handle all this? What should be, how to balance all this? How you did balance? You balanced in all these things.
From my experience, as I said before, never neglect your semester. People will say that semester marks doesn't matter. You need to get a good job, blah, blah, blah. Don't listen to them. Never neglect your semester. Study for your semester well. It's not about grade. You came to that college to learn, to know. So concentrate and focus on that. If you neglect your semester and study for something, start preparing for something else, eventually you will get stuck somewhere.
Right.
After studying for semester, if you have some time left, you have to make out time for that. Like in that time, again for MSc, first year, keep it for your semester only. You don't need to think about anything else. When the first semester is done, from the third semester or fourth semester, you can start thinking about your career. Some of my friends were sorted. They wanted to go for PhD only, and they were not at all interested in taking up a private job. So what they did, they used to work on other projects. They engaged themselves with some other professors from other universities like ISI or IIT itself, and they collaborated with them to write a few papers. So that would help. These papers help them in getting admission into a good college in USA or in other international universities. So if you're focused in PhD, think about writing a paper or doing a project, academic project.
Yeah, right.
If you are interested in private jobs, start solving. There comes a lot of books on logical reasoning and all. You can start preparing for that. There are several online tests. You can go for that. And yes, if you're going for private job, uphold your skill of programming. You have to do that. Programming has become a compulsion nowadays. So if you are not good into programming, try to make yourself better. And that's all about private job. But yes, this all comes only after studying for the semester, because eventually in every interview, be it a job interview or a PhD interview, they will ask you what you have learned. They will ask you about your subject. And if you become dumb at that time, if you cannot answer them, then you are of no good use. So studying for the semester is a must. Do not neglect it. And do not neglect your campus life as well. If you are doing your MSc from a campus institute like IIT or ISI. Yeah, that will do.
So basically many of us has a confusion like whether should I go for private job or whether should I go for government job or PhD. So if you focus on that first year of study, then you automatically it will be clear to you that whether I am suitable for all these things.
Yes. Even if it is not clear, it's okay. Like most of my batchmates in BSc as well as MSc, they all came from middle class families. Like not all, but most of the people that I used to hang out with. So the problem with for us, the people belonging to middle class families, that even if we want to do PhD, we are not sure if we can afford that. Obviously, PhD will pay you a handsome stipend. That's okay. But before that, you have to appear for GRE. If you have to appear for, there is another exam called IELTS or something. And the admission process itself, if you're applying for a university itself, my friend appeared for 4 or 5 universities and it cost her around 1 to 1.5 lakh. So you're investing a lot. And after and one GRE exam itself costs something around 15 to 20,000, I guess. IELTS is even costlier. And even after applying for all these exams, if somehow this test doesn't go well, after applying and spending so much money, what if you are not getting selected in any of the universities? Your entire money is gone and you have nothing. So there are a lot of tension, like we cannot do that. So I have seen many people who just thought about, yeah, okay, like they wanted to do PhD, but they had all these doubts and they took up a private job. That's fine. You can, if you don't know what to do, take up a private job, prepare yourself for a private job, take up a private job. They earned handsome salary for 1 or 2 years, and when they were comfortable with their financial status, they applied abroad for PhD, and now they have completed their PhD. They are again professors in some good universities, or working in as an R&D of some established corporate. So that's okay. That's also a good option. If you're not sure about anything, just do whatever feels right for the moment.
Right. Very good advice. Okay, so in MSc, like in our first semester or in our second semester, we have to do the subject. We have that topic that's selected by the department, and from the third semester we have to choose some elective papers.
Yeah.
So how we should choose that elective paper? Like in our MSc, we have chosen mainly economics part. So how to choose that elective paper?
As elective paper, I think economics is a good option. Also, don't keep yourself constricted to only economics itself.
Yeah.
Choose some computer science paper as well for the programming part. Again, if you're not that good in programming, try to take up electives which might offer you good hands-on knowledge in programming. Even there are we were lucky, in fact, in IIT that we could take up subjects from other streams like computer science or engineering subjects as well. So if you are into job, if you want to be a data scientist especially, take up some subjects related to data science like machine learning, subjects like that. And economics also you can take. Keep it a mixture of everything. Like for suppose for third semester you have to take up one elective. Take any elective. Like suppose you are taking machine learning. In the fourth semester you have to choose 2. Take one economics and one data science related or computer science related subject. Like that, keep it a mix. That would help you better, I think.
Right. Now I want to know about that placement, that internship or project. You have told about that in project part. So in internship and project, how important is this? How internship help to get job, and how to good? In many of us students couldn't select it for internship. So how to approach, how to go for internship, how to search internship. Now how internship is important for that job.
Internship is not important for your placement. It's not. Only one of a student from our batch was selected for internship, and all that it helped was she was offered a she was selected for internship, and they offered her what is called pre-placement, I think, offer or something like that. Like they offered her the job right away, so she did not have to go through the placement process. So however, she that's the comfort of internship. If you get selected for internship, most of the time, if you did a good job there, you will be offered the job itself, and you don't have that. You have to go through that tedious process of placement. That's the only advantage. But even if you do not have an internship, that won't affect your placement process. If your interview goes well, if the recruiter feels that you are well enough for the job, you will eventually get selected.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't matter. It just boosts your CV. That's it.
Right. So one thing I previously forgot to mention in earlier, that you in that our batch, you were the you got highest package, and for the in that year you are in applicant seat, and for the very next year you came to institute, and you are in the recruiter seat. So you saw that both side of that thing. So tell us, based on that, I have 2 questions for you. Like, one thing is, when you are in student seat, when you are in an applicant part, so what was the preparation, what was the mindset, which thing we should focus for interview? Like, we don't need to read all the thing we are learning in 2 years. We have to, there is some particular point we have to keep in mind for interview. So what was this mindset before going to interview, and which thing we should focus before going to interview? One thing is that, and another thing I want to ask from that next year view of you, that when you are coming as a recruiter, what are the thing you find, you search on the students? What was the point you search on the students?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So, regarding your first question, when you are going to interview for a particular company, just go through the job description part, the job role, the kind of people they want. Do they want an analyst? Do they want a data scientist? And for interview, you don't have much option. Like you have to just sit and answer their questions, right? So think about your body posture, like correct it. Like do not try to be over smart, or just be relaxed and come up dressed in a comfort in something you are comfortable in. Like obviously it should not be casual. It is like what is called formal. Yeah, but feel comfortable. Don't take too much pressure. Just take it as a vibe. Like whatever they will ask, you have to answer. That's it. And no, you don't need to study a lot of things. It's not necessary. Mostly, you know statistics. You have studied statistics for 3 years and taking this 1 year of MSc, 4 years. So you know the subject. Keep that in mind. So whatever they will ask, you will know that. Just even if you don't know that, that is also fine. So if your subject, if the job role that you are interviewing for is much more into like something related to probabilistic approach, or like this, I think for analyst, you need to know basic statistics. And for risk management, etc., this kind of post, the knowledge of probability is required. So if you are not that good in probability, brush up a little about probability or linear algebra. I remembered one company asked many questions on linear algebra and real analysis also. So like that's the thing. Do a little bit of background search. Like what is the job role of that company? And if it's a risk analyst or something like that, Google the job role. Like what do these people do? So that will give you a lot many ideas about what might be the probable question they will ask, and prepare accordingly. If it is for data scientists, brush up your programming knowledge. They will ask a lot many questions. So I was selected as data scientist in Accenture. So like apart from 2 or 3 questions, all the questions were about programming. They just opened up a programming app and asked me to write codes, algorithms. And luckily it was my day. It was my lucky day, and I could do everything that they asked, almost everything. So that's the thing. They wanted a programmer, and I gave them what they wanted.
Right.
So, and I was selected. That's it. And the next thing you asked about, what do the companies want in a candidate? First, actually, I was not interviewing. I was the person who was interviewing. I was just sitting beside him, and after interviewing, he just asked me if you have any questions. So I was very new. I was just 1 year into the corporate and did not have much idea. But all that I can say was that, again, we had a role of data scientist. So we're going through the resume. If you have mentioned about a project, we ask the candidate about the project. And surprisingly, I find many candidates whom I knew that they were very good student. I have heard a lot of things about them, that they were great in studies. But when asked about the projects that they have mentioned in the resume, they were not confident enough to answer. They don't know what they were doing. So don't do that. If you're writing something into your resume about any project, any internship, or any responsible role that you have ever played in your life, you should know everything about that. Every little details about that, what you have done, how you did it, what were the outcomes, what are the shortcomings. If you cannot answer that, then you are of no good use. And after that, apart from the resume, the other questions that we asked were from data science related questions, algorithms and programming. Even if you do not know the exact code, like just give us the algorithm. Look, like, okay, this is a problem. We have to do this. Suppose the question is about making tea. You don't have to say that we have to use like, you just need to tell the procedures. Take milk, take sugar, take tea, like that. So we are searching for a candidate who knew Python, but unfortunately in IIT Kanpur we're not taught Python, but most of the candidates knew R. So they asked the questions, and the candidates, they answered, they told their code in R itself. And I knew R, so I could verify that they were telling the right answer or not. So if it was right, then fine. That's all we wanted. We wanted a programmer. So that's the thing. You should know what the company wants from you, what is their role, and prepare yourself accordingly. They will ask only the questions that relates to the role that you are supposed to play in their company.
Right. So, I want to ask that you spent 2 years in MS in IIT Kanpur. So, can you that go through that your experience in 2 years? Like one thing is that facility there and the hostel life, and can you give a little view of that?
Not sure. 2 years in IIT Kanpur, I always say was the best 2 years of my life, because the IIT Kanpur provided a lot of facilities. First, the campus was really great. Like, it was very huge. We had a lot of place to go, and luckily for me that I learned cycling there. I mean, not there actually. I learned cycling at my home, and then. But it pushed me to learn cycle, in fact, because from hostel to academic area there was a pretty much great distance, so we had to cycle all along that to the academic area. So for that I had to learn cycling, and once I learned cycling, I got the opportunity to explore the entire campus, and it's a beautiful campus. We had a cafeteria where you could not just drink your coffee, but you could study. Our library was stacked with some of the great books, and during exam time the library was open 24 hours, and anyone could literally, I saw some students treat the library as their home. They used to sleep there, they used to eat there, they used to spend a lot of their time there. So talking about facilities, it's a really good place. And when in the summers, when it was really hot in Kanpur, we used to spend many time in libraries, because it offered AC. They have computer labs which remain open till late night. So if you want to brush up your programming knowledge, or if you don't have a good, well-functioning laptop, even if you don't have a laptop at all, you can use the laboratory. You can use the computer lab. So you don't need to have anything. You don't need to be rich to study there. It offers a lot of opportunities. It offers a lot of facilities there, and the canteens offer good food at very cheap rate. It spent really well. The campus life, I really enjoyed there. We used to hang out at the canteen of Hall 4. Yeah, Hall 4 it was. And we had an open air theater which showed movies sometimes. We watched Gangs of Wasseypur, both 1 and 2 there. And in winter, I remember. So yeah, it was great. That's all I can say.
So basically, many of us find that they don't have a laptop, and they didn't have any book also. They just use that NC lab, that new core lab, and lab for computers, and they use that library. And they are now very well established, and they are in very good position. So that is the main thing. All resources were there.
Yes, in fact, if you do not have a book and the physical copy of the book, even if it is not available in the library, you can just download it and read. You can take printouts and read.
Right.
So, no, it offers a lot of opportunities for you.
Right. And now I want to ask you that you spent 1 year in private job, then you did PhD, you go for 1 or 2 years of PhD, and recently you are publishing a one paper also. So congratulations for that also. And then you are in right now in Indian Statistical Service in government job. So you touched all these things. Like every one of us has a dream that I want to go for private job, I want to go for government job, and you touched all these things, all these three things. So can you share your experience, or can you share your view of all these things? What are the comparison? What are good? What are bad? So can you say a little bit of that?
I don't want to compare them, because all of them are good. Whatever you choose in your life, everything is good. I can share my experience, obviously. When in Accenture, my 1 year in Accenture was very fruitful. I learned many things there. So my manager, he was a very good person. His name was Ravi Prakash, and he taught me many new things that I did not knew. Even after studying 5 years of statistics, I I was surprised to know that, okay, there are so many things that I don't know. And he provided me the opportunity to know, to learn, to know how to think from a business perspective. And I'm grateful for that. But the problem with Accenture was that it was too much workload. I hardly could make any time for my own life itself. So I thought, no, I cannot be here. It was killing me. So I went to, I just, at that point, my thing was that I have to get out of Accenture. And yes, I was also passionate about PhD. It's not like Accenture is not suitable for me. I have to leave corporate and go for PhD. It wasn't like that. I was passionate about PhD, but the thing that I mentioned earlier, I had a lot many doubts about it, if I could do it or not. So about IS PhD at ISI, that was, again, I was thankful to Almighty that I got selected there. The interview itself was really a nice experience for me, and when I got selected, I felt great. And again, after going to ISI, I had to do a 1 year of coursework. That was a prerequisite before starting PhD. I thought of taking up clinical trials as my topic for PhD, and for that, I learned a lot many new subjects there, like clinical trials, survival analysis. These were not taught before, not during MSc or during BSc. Again, I learned a lot many things, and I loved it. I learned loving new things, and it's exciting, really. And there was a subject I remember. Obviously, you will also remember Inference 2 in IIT Kanpur, and everyone felt dreadful about this subject. Some claimed that we have to mug up that subject because nobody could understand that subject. So somehow we passed. We all passed that subject, but some were not. That's okay. It was difficult, or I don't know, maybe it was the professor who taught. And while in ISI, I again took up that Inference 2. Not that I took up, but some of the subjects were compulsory, and I had to take up Inference 2 again. And I was like, not again, God, please, why? But when the professor was teaching Inference 2, I understood everything from day one till the last day. He was so good, and the subject itself was so nice and so well constructed. In the end, I felt very satisfied that, okay, something that I could not understand in IIT, I can understand now, and I know this subject. If someone asks me that what is this, how to do this, I can explain to that person now. So ISI provided me with a great knowledge, which may or may not be useful in future, but I got a good opportunity to learn from some of the greatest professors of statistics in whole of India, maybe world. Then ISS, yeah. ISS offered me a job, which is stable, which I will be continuing till the age of 60. And right now I'm posted in Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment as Assistant Director. I know the workload is nothing compared to Accenture. I generally work for 7 to 8 hours every day. And that too, like mostly it's about coordination and all. But obviously in Accenture, in ISS also, not all ministries offer same job role. So in my ministry, it's mostly about coordination, about the statistical matters, which are very few to handle them, to look at them. And if you work in the core ministry itself, Ministry of Statistical and Program Implementation, there are a lot many opportunities to work on official statistics of India. Like in SDRD, Kolkata, there is an office in Dunlop, National Statistical Office. They conduct a few surveys every year. Periodic level 4 surveys is one of such, and it's conducted every year. So if you work in ISS, you will have the opportunity to learn something which is applicable in real life. Throughout your entire career in statistics, let it be BSc, let it be MSc, or even if you are interested in PhD, you are going through the theoretical approach, how to do this, how to solve that question, how to solve this question and all. But when in this service in ISS, you have the exposure to real life application of this thing, how a survey is constructed, how a questionnaire is prepared, what are the problems people face while surveying, then what if we get I suppose after conducting the survey, I getting an estimate whether that estimate is a suitable estimate. Someone asked me the consumption of a person, like how much does a average person spend in the whole country? How do I answer such question? We know theoretically that small x bar is the best estimator of capital X bar. But is it so? Is the answer that we are getting from the survey itself, is it matching? Is it a reliable figure? So it's exciting in that way. So yeah, everything is good. It's up to you how you perceive it.
Right. Very good. And one thing I want to say that many of us students have at that mentality that I want to get private job. I only go for government job, and they stick to that thing, only government job or only private job. Is that good, or is that we should change that mentality?
No, that's okay. If some of my colleagues were in fact stuck into this, I have to get into ISS, and they planned their entire MSc accordingly. They were not much into choosing a very good elective. They were like, I have got the summer break, I won't go home, I'll stay in IIT and complete some of the electives, so that in the last 2 semesters, I will have 3 or 4 subjects, and the rest of the time I will spend into preparation of ISS. They were successfully selected for ISS in the first attempt itself. So if you know what you want in life, that's okay. You can go for that.
That is the main point, right?
Yeah.
So one final tips for the students who want to choose the subject statistics or who are in to be statistician. So for them, one final tips for me.
One, okay.
You can say
if you want to. Okay, I think I said this before as well. If statistics is a really wonderful subject, if you want to choose statistics and if you like the subject, don't restrict yourself to the notebooks. Expand your domain. Like I'm not telling you to start thinking about a research problem from the first semester itself, but if you come across an interesting problem, try to solve it. Try to find more such problems. It will be an exercise for your brain. It will be an exercise for a good future. I think, like if you love something, be passionate about it. Life is not only about cracking obviously a good job. It's definitely is your priority. A good job or a good academic career is your priority, definitely, but that's not everything. If you're into statistics, you came into statistics not just for a job or not just to be a professor or to publish 150 papers. You came into statistics to know statistics and do that. That should be your first priority. Love statistics. That's it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time and very, very well informed session and condensed session. So thanks for that. Thanks for your time. Thank you. And hope I will get another session from you. I will get another session from you. I will.
Oh, sure. I'll have to do that. In fact, thank you for providing me this opportunity to tell so much. I'd love to come for another session. That's okay. Thanks.
Thanks.